What's up, gamers? Welcome back to another ProGuides Apex Legends video. Tired of being on the receiving end and interested in stepping up your game on a mechanical level? Then we have the perfect thing just for you. My name is Zephyr, and today we're going over 9 pro mechanics that'll help you climb in no time. These mechanics are the bread and butter of every pro player, so even if you've already heard of them, they're a must-have for every aspiring climber. Before we get into the action though, it's time for our question of the day. Are you following Apex esports? And if so, who's your favorite team and what makes them so special compared to the rest? Let me know in the comments below. Let's start with zip bouncing. You can use ziplines, be it indoors or outdoors, to gain momentum. Rather than ascending with it the normal way, you can just bounce yourself off it to get to places faster. In high pressure situations, this will help you a lot as you're not exposing yourself for longer than required. For example, if you look upwards, you can bounce yourself into the zipline shaft and then turn around to bounce off again to immediately get into a room. The entire play takes only 1 second and puts you in a position in which you can fight in an instant. You can also do the same with the Pathfinder zipline. So overall, use a vertical bounce to get on top of a building rather than trying to climb it. You'll thank me later. Next up comes body swapping during combat. Whenever you're in a fight and get to finish some down guy off, it's time for you to quickly check your shields. They're depleted but you have no time to recharge them? Check the death box and pick up any armor you can find. After fully killing someone, you'll always find a fully regenerated body armor in the box. Even if you're holding a red Evo shield, don't forget it's useless if you can't recharge it in time, so body swapping it for even a white is going to help you more than fighting to keep the empty red. If you have that trick on your mind, it's sometimes just beneficial to thirst for a kill rather than trying to look for the rest of the squad. Every second matters, and every bit of health and shield can be the difference between losing and winning. So if you value your RP, start using it. If nothing happens on the other hand, you can just swap back to your old armor and refill the shield. But you really need to be mindful of third parties. It is King's Canyon after all. You shoot once, and their entire family is going to roll up on you within a heartbeat. Do you want to hit the next level faster than all the others? Then check out ProGuides.com. We feature great content and amazing coaches that'll help you improve your gameplay on every level possible. Check out the link in the description, and let's go. The following tip is for grenade enjoyers. Rather than throwing your nade with the typical curve, it's time to think outside the box. Every pro uses this mechanic once in a while, and now it's your time to use it as well. Throwing the grenade straight up can be used in multiple ways. Number 1 is abusing the fact that the enemy won't have an indicator of it. Unless they've seen you throw it, they won't know what's coming for them. Another way of using it comes from the form of baiting people that are trying to chase you down. When you leave a building, you can quickly throw the nade straight up into the sky. If you get the timing right, and maybe a little bit lucky, the person or squad who's running after you gets blasted by the dropping nade. The next mechanic involves Wraiths Portal, but this time it's a bit different. We always tend to praise the defensive and rotational value of this ultimate ability. In this instance though, we think outside the box again. Once we enter the later stages of the game, it's time to turn that utility tool into a death trap. If you see that a squad is stuck in a building right before one of the end zones hits, you can make their life a living hell if you use this trick. Use your Wraith Portal and place it on the doorway of the only escape route that isn't forcing them to take damage from the zone. That way, you'll either funnel them through your portal to get some easy KP, or they'll have to walk around and waste valuable time and resources to get to a safe place. Don't forget that other squads might also be aware of that, and they can kill those people for you, and therefore, you'll get a higher placement. No gunfighting involved unless they want to literally die to you. The 5th mechanic is another way of utilizing Wraith in an offensive manner. Combining your tactical and your ult will allow you to kidnap people. But what does that exactly mean? With Wraith, you can place the entry of your portal anywhere you like, even while jumping. So in this situation, pop your tactical and run into a room with your unsuspecting enemies. Place your exit on or close to an enemy and bring them home to your squad. If you place the portal midair, they won't be able to get back to the portal or immediately fight once they come through, and your allies will have an easy time shooting them. This strat, like the other before, really griefs enemy teams and is almost always an enjoyable experience. Ruin their fun to make the game fun for you. For the 6th mechanic, we want to urge you to change your jump to mouse wheel up or down. That way it's easy to hit any kind of wall bounce without having to perfectly time it via spacebar. Removing the variable of human error comes in clutch when you're aiming for consistency. The wall bounce is a staple in the movement meta, and if utilized correctly, grants you a powerful advantage. Messing it up once, however, turns you into a vulnerable target as you've just lost all your momentum and are probably stuck in a very bad place. For all of those who don't know how it works, here we have a quick tutorial for it. You run towards a wall, slide and jump onto it. The split second you see your character enter the climbing animation, you jump off. That way you can jump over your enemy and outplay them. Next to that, you'll also be able to move a little bit quicker as you're not traveling with normal speed. You want to learn that mechanic in peace and make sure you got it down perfectly? No problem. Just jump into the practice tool and go to the back right corner walls on the firing range. Once you have that mechanic down, you won't be able to imagine life without it. With the zipline bouncing nerfed in terms of being able to continuously do it without any punishment or delay, long vertical ziplines have become really dangerous. In the past, if you had good mechanical skill, you could bounce around permanently, but that's long gone. Now, you have to be more mindful when you try to take one of those far up into the skies. This mechanic isn't going to save you all the time, but it surely can do the trick occasionally. So rather than trying to use the old mechanic of bouncing around continuously, you now have an easier method at hand. Once you attach to that zipline, just spin your mouse either left or right, but never go back though. That way a few of those bullets that are meant for you are going to miss and you might live to see another day. For the 8th mechanic, we're going to talk about both basic and pro strafing. So let's start with basic strafing. In any FPS you've ever played, play, or will play, this mechanic is the bread and butter to any successful player. It's mandatory that you understand that you never want to be a stationary target. If you are one though, any wingman god is going to take full advantage and down you in an instant, and I don't think any of us want that. So listen closely. By continuously moving left and right, you force the enemy to adjust their aim permanently. Additionally, you can use that movement to counteract your own recoil on top of it, making it harder for the enemy to hit you. For the recoil, here's the deal. To make sure that your crosshair keeps being centered while strafing, you have to constantly jitter and adjust. Adding the recoil to the mix doesn't really make it harder. In fact, it actually makes it easier to control the recoil as you're already compensating for the movement. Another thing you need to be aware of is the impact of various weapons on your strafe. Different weapons while ADSing have different impact on your movement speed and therefore your strafe speed. Knowing about that and knowing which weapons you strafe the fastest and slowest with can really make the difference. To add to the basic strafe, we're now moving on over to the pro strafe. For this, you have to add another movement to your strafe, the crouching. While you move left and right, you basically continuously crouch and uncrouch to make it very difficult for the enemy to hit you. However, it comes with a cost. Jiggling up and down can really take a toll on your accuracy and make it harder for you to hit them. On the flip side, however, you can really catch people off guard by using this technique as it gets very difficult to pin you down. Whenever you're encountering an enemy doing a pro strafe, you can also immediately adapt to the situation. Rather than adding jiggling up and down to the default strafe jitter, you can abuse the enemy's attempt of fooling you by just using the basic strafe. That way, you don't have to overcompensate for both the enemies and your own movement. Plus, you also won't get dizzy if that's a problem for you. Last but not least comes tap strafing. To make this easier, we yet again change some settings. We add another keybind to your forward movement, in this case, mouse wheel up or down. Here, it's important to remember that you've already changed your jump hotkey as well. Don't mess that one up. The easiest way, in our opinion, is forward movement on mouse wheel up and jumping on mouse wheel down to create that easy synergy. Let's move on over to how it works. First, go ahead and try slide jumping. Then, hold on to your strafe keys and scroll right up after you jump. It's important that you keep holding the strafe key here and not the normal W key after the jump. Doing this right will pull you somewhat to the side of your chosen strafe button, typically A or D. All you have to do now is add mouse movement and you've completed the tap strafe. It's a bit tricky, but it's an insane mechanic that'll give you an absurd advantage. And for all those crazy movement maniacs out there, you can even add wall bounce after that tap strafe to really hit that next level. And that's it for today's video. Thank you all for watching and see you soon for more Apex Legends content.